Hello and welcome to the ongoing AS and A level Python series, and in this episode we are going to be looking at conditionals in Python. So conditional expressions typically involve keywords such as if, else if, or rather if you are going to read it or type it, it's going to be a if and the else clause. And these three basic constructs allow us to, or rather they provide Python programs with the ability to perform different actions depending on a Boolean condition. So by Boolean condition, I think you remember that we once looked at an episode where we looked at Booleans and we were seeing that any Boolean condition is actually going to evaluate either true or false. So conditionals or decision making in Python is based upon a Boolean condition, that is a condition of either true or false. So in order to actually get started here, we need two numbers to demonstrate the concept of conditionals. So let's just have the first number is 34. And let's say the second number is maybe just any number really I would do, but just let's just make sure that it is greater than what than the first number. So we have two numbers. Number one is a value of 34, number two is a value of 89. So let's suppose maybe that we wanted to perform a particular action in our program, and in this in the action that we are trying to determine is maybe if number one is greater than number two, we want to do to perform a different kind of action. Otherwise, we want to go the alternate route, is it? So in order for us to actually do that, we need to have we need to make use of the if and the else clause, as it were. So the way we write if is by typing the word if, then followed by the variable that we want to use in this particular example. So let's say if number one is greater than number two, what do we want to do? We simply want to print number one is greater than, then we can actually just concatenate with number two right there, just like that. Then otherwise, should number two be greater than number one, we want to print the alternative. So we can simply copy that statement, paste it here, then change this to number one. Then right here we can just say number two is greater than that. So let me just go ahead and compile, rather run this code. So let's just call conditionals, and you see right there that it prints what number two is greater than 34, because number two is a value of 89. So yes, 89 is greater than 34. Then we can just reverse this just to see that this works. Like we can just change number 2 to 8 or run that code one more time, and you realize that number 1 is greater than what? Than 8, which is the current value of number 2. So that's how you can go about doing conditionals in Python. So let me just go ahead and actually comment out all this code, then continue down here. So next up, we need to look at how you can go about maybe let's say you have more than two different directions that you wish to take when you make your decisions. So in that particular case, you cannot use an if-else statement, but rather you need to use an if, else if, then depending on the number of alternate paths that you intend to take, you might have a bunch of else if statements, but you are always going to have an else statement at the end, right? So to handle sort of like the default condition. So to actually see that in action, let's define a system, rather a program, a simple program. Maybe let's say we have 3 players, right? So we have player 1. We'll just say, maybe let's just say player 1, right? Then we have player 2. Player 2, their profile they saved maybe as player 2. Then we have player 3, and when they created their profile, let's just imagine that they call themselves what? Player 3. So let's say we are building this logic for a game whereby when the game is launched, we need to allow the user to select their profile, right? And depending on the profile selected, we are going to basically load whatever items that they might have accrued the previous time they played the game. So maybe let's say we want to check the game progress that is being made by each player, is it? So player 1, player 2, player 3, they might actually be at different stages of completion of when they're playing the game. So we want to load the appropriate profile depending on the name that has been typed in by the user, or the name that has been selected by the user, as it were. So maybe we can actually have a variable called keyboard, and inside of keyboard we're just going to take whatever is going to be typed in by the user, is it? So we can then say type in your gamer tag, right? Then I'm just gonna put a bunch of a couple of angled brackets and a colon there, just to help me with the prompt down in the terminal. Then what we can do now is after we've taken that input from the keyboard, we can actually check to see if the keyboard entry is equal to player 1. So if someone's going to type player 1 is their gamer tag, we are going to to print loading profile for, then we just take whatever is stored inside of the player 1 variable, right? Else, if we check to see if the keyboard entry is equal to player 2, in which case we are just going to load their profile. So in this case we are loading player 2's profile. Then I'm just going to copy this entire else if statement along with the print statement there, because I just want to paste it one more time right here for player 3. So we check to see if whatever has been typed in on the keyboard is equal to the name for player 3, right? And in which case we are going to load their profile. Then otherwise we are going to say if the whatever has been typed doesn't match any gamer any profile we have in our program, then we just want to say sorry, no profile found for that gamer tag. So that's the default message that we're going to print. So let's just go ahead and run that. So it says here, type in your gamer tag. Maybe let me just go with player 2, right? And it's going to say loading profile for what? For player 2. Then maybe run it one more time. Let me select the player 1 tag, and you see right there it says that what? Loading profile for player 1. Then in the event that someone types a name that is not stored inside of the program, maybe let's say I'm going to say player 55, is it? So it's going to say that sorry, no profile found for that for that gamer tag. So that's how you can actually go about making decisions for in Python using the else if statement. Then one more bonus thing that I want to show you with the if statement is that you can actually do something we call short circuit evaluation. So let me just actually type the how you can go about it, then I'll explain how it works. So maybe let's declare a variable called n and give it a value of 5. All right, that's on line 27 right there, down there. Let me just scroll here so that you don't have to look all the way down the screen like that. So n is equal to 5, right? Then I'm simply going to say print, right? Then let me just say greater than what? Greater than 5. So I'm simply going to say if n is greater than 2. Actually, let me say greater than 2 here, right? So if n greater than 2, then we say print, right? Then n is what? N is equal to 2, right? Alright, so this is another way of getting that squiggly bracket. You just need to have an else right here. So let me just go ahead and run this down there in the console. So you check that, run that, and you see that it says greater than 2. So this statement works like this. The way you can just actually read it out loud or in your head, you can go about it like this. So you're saying that what I've just highlighted right here, that's condition 1, right? and what we have on the right hand side, that's condition 2. So if you are going to read this, you would say I want to print greater than 2, right? If n is greater than 2, otherwise I'm going to print n is equal to 2, right? I'm going to read that one more time. I want to print n greater than 2 if n is greater than 2, otherwise I'm going to print n is equal to 2. So that's what we call the ternary operator in Python, right? Basically it provides us with a way to do what we call short circuit evaluation. Like instead of having to write 2 if-else statements that span multiple lines, you can actually just do it in one go like this, is it? So you can do an action, right? If the given condition yields true, otherwise if the given condition is going to be false, you're going to do the action that is on the right. So that's how you can actually use short circuit evaluation in Python. And actually that's just about it for conditionals in Python. I hope to see you in the next one.